Hi people, Morino, Ravenberg here again as always, and as usual. Yeah, you can tell baby, it's game time again. I found a very interesting subject for a video. Of course, this is primarily very interesting for me. For the viewers, well, that's all up to the viewers. You can tell based on the header, this is going to be an extension. I'm specifically going to delve into my own mind, but specifically regarding my past life. Now, if you want to know about my past life, read the link or the video that is linked in the description of this video itself. I did an article or a video, one of the two. In any case, check the description of this video and or the end screen. I remember I worked with Mistress Lilith back then. The spirit Lilith. Most people know who Lilith is, obviously, the queen of all demons and whatnot, of infernal spirits, Samael's wife, and then just goes on. The first, essentially the primordial woman, the one that came before Eve, that Lilith in 2018. The video is called Unraveling My Past Life with Lilith. So now I'm going to take it like more than a step further, but hypothetically speaking, I'm going to take it a step further. But I'm going to take it a lot further based obviously on now how strong I am compared to 2018 to 5 years ago. In any case, if you're interested, just read that article and or watch that video. Long story short, I am the reincarnation of a Dutch magician. So I was already an occultist in my past life. I only had one past life. As far as I can tell, I only had one past life. My name was, as far as I know, Hans or Hans. What am I? Was it? No, sorry. My name was Mark van Bismarcken, if I'm not mistaken. In any case, either Mark or Hans van Bismarcken. Again, watch the article and or read the article and or watch the previous video. I remember, and I was born I lived in the Netherlands, close to the border with Belgium, and I was an unknown magician. Okay, that's why I was reincarnated. In this life, I'm well known across the globe, even if I say so myself. And in my past life, I was like an unknown individual. I was like an obscure magician, and I wasn't nearly as skilled as I am. I was more of a dabbler, like a warlock, witchcraftian kind of guy. And I already explained back then. This is a short interlude. How I was aware of this, because ever since birth, I could sense a weird, but yet very strong attraction towards the Netherlands and Europe as a whole. Again, like I said, I consider myself European by all standards, based on that alone, based on that premise. I love the cold, like really love the cold, as in 10 degrees to me is like, I could easily handle 10 degrees the way I'm dressed right now. And it just goes on, flashes in my head. I lived around the 18th century, if I'm not mistaken, or the beginning of the 19th century. And it just goes on. I looked like a stereotypical person back then, a little bit obese, like a fat white guy with a tiny beer belly, and I sometimes wore glasses, if I'm not mistaken. It just goes on. In any case, especially in my later years. Yeah, I'm going to delve into my own mind, so I'm going to specifically focus on my past life. And you guys can bear witness to all of it. This is a this is a very much personal significance. Not that it mattered to me. You know, this article was 5 years ago, or video was 5 years ago. Don't care all too much, but still. I mean, since I can delve into people's minds now, and I'm so good at it, everything, I can do it all, then doing it with myself and specifically seeing what stuff looked like back then, what shit looked like back then. It's gonna be amazing. Okay. Let me just get in the mood and just relax. I'll be counting down from 10 to 0, and when I do so, I will delve into my own mind and I will see and or view and experience everything in relation to my past life, to the life I had before I was born into this current life cycle in the material plane that I'm experiencing. So before Morino, Ravenberg, my past life. And I will see everything in ultra detail and as detailed and as extravagant as possible. Let's go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. I'm seeing that I'm in England. I just took a look at myself. Yeah, I was dressed like the typical, the way people dressed back then. The reason I'm in England and not in the Netherlands is because I'm like shopping for stuff. I usually travel by boat, and I'm seeing that I helped out on a boat as well. I work part-time on a boat. Well, more than part-time, but not full-time, so somewhere in between. And I simply help them just do all-around work, honestly. I was a bit rude and somewhat obnoxious. Yeah. And yeah, I'm essentially visiting my knowledge in English as a language is basic, or somewhere between basic and proficient, so intermediary. And I'm in some obscure British shop in London, West London. 1845 is the date that I'm seeing specifically, going all the way to 1922 essentially. Yeah, anyways, so I lived for that amount of time, and it's some obscure shop. It's like the modern day shops that sell, ritual items and supplies and whatnot. But back then, obviously, everything was a lot more obscure. The shop is dark, and I'm simply buying herbs and whatnot, like mugwort and stuff like that, basic shit. And yeah, now I'm back in the Netherlands. Okay. I'm simply walking around town and going about my life. Let me see my house. My house is a typical house that's made out of wood and stone partially. It's nothing fancy. I'm seeing my wife. It's a typical blonde woman wearing typical fucking Western attire, the kind you see in Western movies, the way that these gals used to dress. I used to love weaponry as well. I had like a handgun on me. Wow. Let's see. My wife is speaking like it's old Dutch, but similar to Old English from medieval times, but it's a lot more gruntish, so with a lot more grunts and whatnot, not stringing coherent sentences together. And I'm also talking like that. Okay. Okay. Show me what kind of magic I practiced. Okay, I'm seeing a couple of like miscellaneous spirits. Kind of like a miscellaneous gnome looking spirit, like a troll. I focused primarily on black magic. and I worked with herbs and roots. I specialized in that, I mean. I'm also seeing like a couple of shades and miscellaneous egregore like spirits that I created, but of course they're not highly advanced. I like traveling, and I like exploring the world. I'm seeing like some old. Oh, okay. I already had an idea for a globe essentially, but it's just an idea. It's more futuristic. It's not. Obviously, there were no globes back then. The globe is simply metaphorical. It stands for essentially me having the idea that the world is round, or although there were doubts back then. And now I'm seeing myself actually look at a map of the world, an old map. Oh, looks like one of those typical old maps from the freaking 19th century. Black and white, yellowish, the known world. And yeah, that's all. And this was when the Dutch were expanding naval-wise, and you know, I'm all up for it because I like voyaging, but my wife dislikes it, and yet she keeps quiet. Not that she cheated on me or anything like that, but she just didn't like me going out, and I mean, she didn't like me traveling so much. Okay. Okay, initially I thought I was pointing on the map at Asia, but now I'm pointing on the map at, I'm pointing at South America on the map, specifically where Suriname is. And I'm saying in Dutch, I'm wondering what's there. This strange land fascinates me for some reason. And I'm feeling cold all of a sudden. And I'm saying I'll never get to see it. You know, it's just a pipe dream. Okay, I'm hearing my own voice, what I used to sound like. Okay. Some straw in my ritual chamber, I want to say. That's it. I just like to mix herbs and whatnot. I was moderately proficient. Show me my power level back then, active as well as passive. I repeat, show me my power level. Yeah, I'm seeing my name, obviously, Hans van Bismarcken. In Dutch, Hans van Bismarcken. I'm seeing 1545 next to my name, but it's not significant. There's a likelihood that I was also reincarnated even back then. I had before I was Hans, I also had another life, and that was from 1545, like really medieval. But that life is really obscure. There is barely any information to be taken from that life, or let's just say nothing mention worthy. So I'm not going to go into that. Yeah, again, what's my power level, active power level back then? My power level back then was conflicted. Active power level was fluctuant, like 3.5, 4.5, 2.5. Because now I'm seeing the reason. I didn't practice consistently. I like practice, and then all of a sudden I stopped and I went to do mundane things like earn a living, travel, do this, do that. And then I practiced again. So my power level, my active power level fluctuated. What was my passive power level? So my max potential. 6.5, okay. And what's the nature of my power? I'm seeing that, it's called black. Terrestrial, elemental. The nature of my power was elemental in nature. Skills laid on astrology and just overall cosmic knowledge. So essentially Lord Uriel's domain. Okay. And yeah, a mixture of Uriel's and Sandalphon's domain, my beloved vice Lord Sandalphon. But primarily Uriel. That's also why I had an interest in astronomy and astrology as well. But back then it was barely even developed, so passed a couple of freaking numbers and whatnot. I'm not seeing myself practice anything back then, but yeah, there was a strong interest in that. But again, there was nothing to be done, nothing to be developed. Okay, and that's it. I just went about my life. I was born in 1845, if I'm not mistaken, and that's what I'm seeing, and I died in 1922. Okay, give me a bird's eye view. Okay. Give me a bird's eye view. Yeah, no, not of present day freaking Netherlands, man. Back then, stay there. Okay. And let me see, bordering Belgium. Yeah, no, back then everything was almost so fused together, honestly. There were barely any clear-cut borders. I mean, yeah, people knew, but you know, there were essentially, if you lived near the border, you wouldn't like really know. So you would only know based on the way someone talks and whatnot, and the minor differences. But you're, oh, okay, you're from Belgium instead of from the Netherlands. Everything looks like the same, cobblestone paths. Yeah, you know, it's just typical, stereotypical medieval Europe, I want to say. Yeah, not medieval, but let's just say late medieval Europe. Yeah, and that's it. There's nothing mention worthy, honestly, for the rest. There's nothing worth mentioning, nothing worth saying. That's essentially it. Yeah, that's essentially it. Yeah, and. Yeah, and that's it, guys. That was it. Interesting for me. But yeah, nothing mention worthy, really. I'm briefly trying to remember what I saw. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's it. Let me know if you've got any questions, and have a good one. Bye.